Good morning, students. Now we have come to the last topic of your chapter, Matter Around Us, and that topic is evaporation. So let us see liquid in a container. So you can see that there are two types of particles in any sample. The particles which are on the surface, they are called surface particles, and the particle inside is called bulk particle. You can see that surface particles are having particles only under them. There is no particle above the surface, whereas the particle in the center is surrounded symmetrically from all the directions. So obviously this particle is feeling more forces of attraction than the surface particle. So if a particle wants to leave the system of liquid, it has to overcome all the forces of attraction. So particle in the center has to break more number of forces of attraction than the surface particles. So if you expose a liquid for a while, the particles on the surface can gain energy from their surroundings. When they gain energy, they will increase the kinetic energy. So when their kinetic energy increases, they start moving very fast, and when they move, they can break the force of attraction from their neighboring particles. So this particle has to overcome the forces of these particles, this has to overcome the forces of these, but this has to overcome the forces of attraction by all these particles. So these particles, they need lesser heat energy to overcome the forces, and they can leave the system. If they leave the system, they will get converted from liquid to gaseous state. So when the surface particles have more kinetic energy, so they can overcome the forces of attraction which is provided by other particles which are surrounding them. And they are not surrounded, they are having only the particles below or from the sides. So when they break away these forces of attraction, they get converted into vapors. This phenomena of change of liquid into vapor at any temperature, remember this word, at any temperature, and this temperature has to be below its boiling point. This is called evaporation. If you keep heating it, a time will come when even these particles will be capable of overcoming the forces of attraction. Even though number of attractions are come, but then you have provided heat which is sufficient enough for this particle to overcome the forces of attraction, and now even these particles can leave the system, right? So when the particles from the bulk start going out, this is called boiling. So boiling takes place, this has already been taught to you, boiling takes place at a particular temperature, then that temperature is called boiling point. Below that temperature, only surface particles can leave the system. So when surface particles leave the system by taking heat from either from the system or from surroundings, only when these particles leave the system, we call it evaporation. So evaporation is conversion from liquid to gaseous state at any temperature below its boiling point. So there is very distinct difference between evaporation and boiling. One is evaporation is surface phenomena, whereas boiling is bulk phenomena. Then evaporation takes place at all temperatures below its boiling point. You can underline this. And boiling takes place only at a particular temperature, the temperature which is called boiling point. So this takes place at all temperatures, this takes place only at a particular temperature. And this is a very important difference which you have to write down specifically by writing the statements properly. See, what during evaporation, we are not providing any external heat. They are using their own heat to overcome the force of attraction and leave the system. That means if you take a container or if you take a saucer, put water in it, expose it to atmosphere. Nowadays the temperature is rising, right? As we are summer is approaching. So you will see that the water from your saucer gets evaporated. You have not kept it over flame. So you are not using any external source of energy. They are either getting it from within or simply from surroundings. So the evaporation can occur using only their internal energy of the system. Now what happens that when these particles are evaporating, they are leaving the system, they are using the energy of the system, right? So they gain energy, they move out. Since they have taken the energy from the system, the overall energy of this system will go down. Heat energy of the system will go down. So once these particles from the surface, they escape using the energy of the system, the heat and content of the system goes down, and that results in cooling. So evaporation causes cooling. Now what this system will do? Its energy has gone down, so it will take energy from the heat from the surrounding. Now the energy of surrounding will go down, and so this part of the system also gets cooled. So first, when these particles go, they take up the energy from the rest of the water, so this gets cooled. Then on evaporation, when this energy gets lowered, it takes energy from the surroundings, and now the energy of the surroundings get lowered. This is the next topic which we are going to see, that evaporation causes cooling. So what happens during evaporation? Particles of the liquid absorb energy from the surroundings in which they are. So these particles are in their surroundings are these particles and air. So they take energy from them and then they leave, taking away this heat. So they take heat from the rest of the water as well as from the surrounding. So energy has been lost by rest of the water. So the lost energy is regained by absorbing them from the surrounding. So this water will absorb energy from the surrounding because the water has lost energy. And now the surrounding, the atmosphere around it also gets cooled. This concept of cooling is used in different places. For example, you must have seen that during summers we sprinkle water at the roof. So what happens? If you sprinkle water at the roof, that water will take energy from the hot surface of the roof, will get evaporated. So when it takes away the energy, the heat content of the roof gets lowered, and so roof gets cooled. Similarly, you must have seen earthen pots. Water gets cooled in earthen pots. Why? Earthen pots have pores. So when you put water in earthen pots, they will come out of that pores. Pores allow water to come out from where they get evaporated. Now when the water gets evaporated, it takes away heat. For evaporation, it takes away heat either from the water, from the pot and from atmosphere. So it cools down the remaining water inside. This is called cooling. So water inside the pot gets cooled. So another is working of your coolers, desert coolers. So let us see what happens in coolers. In coolers, you have an exhaust fan, you have water, and you have cusp pads, right? So what happens when you switch on the pump? What this pump does, it takes up the water and throws it over the cusp pads. Now when the water from cusp pads allows the hot air to come in, because you have got exhaust fan is sucking the air inside from outside. This air is hot air, right? In summers it takes up the hot air. Now hot air passes through cusp pads. Cusp pads have got water. Water takes up heat from the air to get evaporate, and it gets evaporated. When it takes up heat from the air, the heat energy of the remaining air gets cooled down. It decreases. So the air which is thrown in is cool. This is the working of desert cooler. Okay. So all these examples are using this concept that evaporation causes cooling. Another very good example is that when you put perfume on your skin, though it's not advisable, you should not, but anyway, if you put perfume over your skin or nail polish remover like acetone or alcohol over your skin, you feel cool. The reason is that they get evaporated very easily. And when they evaporate, they take heat from your body. And so the heat content of your body goes down. And so you feel cool. Similarly, evaporation of your sweat. So when you are sweating, your sweat comes over your skin from where it evaporates. So when it evaporates, it takes away heat from your body, and so you feel cool. Why do you wear cotton clothes during summer? Very simple. Cotton has a property that it absorbs moisture. So it absorbs your sweat and then let it evaporate. So when it evaporates from your clothes, it takes away heat from your body, and so you feel cool. Instead of that, if you wear your synthetic clothes will not absorb the sweat of your body. So the sweat will remain stick to your skin and you will feel sticky. So it will not absorb, it will not let it evaporate, so your sweat will remain with you, and so you feel uncomfortable. All these examples which I have told you needs to be written in the form of question. They have to be explained the way I have explained you. Now, what are the factors which decide the rate of evaporation? So we have to see that since it is a surface phenomena, so if it is a surface phenomena, that means more larger is the surface area, more are the particles exposed at the surface. So all of them will go in the vapor form. So higher will be the rate of evaporation. Rate of evaporation means how many particles can evaporate per unit time. So at a given time, more particles are exposed, more will be the evaporation. What happens if you increase the temperature? When you increase the temperature, more particles gain kinetic energy, more particles can overcome the forces of attraction, more particles will get converted into vapor phase, and so more will be the rate of evaporation. Another is humidity. Now, humidity is the amount of moisture which is present in air. So remember that at a given temperature, air can hold only a certain amount of moisture content. So if, say, a season like rainy season, during rainy season there is already lots of moisture in the atmosphere. So if you try to evaporate a liquid and send more of the moisture, where will it go? Air cannot hold after that definite amount. So more is the humidity, more is the difficulty for the particles of water to get evaporated. So they will remain on the surface, because even if they leave the surface, they don't have a place to go. So more is the humidity, as air doesn't have much of the space left with it, so it does not allow more of the moisture to come in. So if there is an increase in the humidity in air, there is a decrease in the rate of evaporation. So this will make you understand why is it so difficult during humid season for your sweat to get evaporated, and you feel so uncomfortable, you feel so sticky. So you are not that uncomfortable when there is an increase in temperature, but we feel more uncomfortable during July and August when the season is humid, because the sweat which we are getting on our skin doesn't get evaporated. But yes, there is wind speed which also affects, because when there is a wind, what wind does, that it takes away the vapors from the surface. So if you have a surface of liquid and you are having a wind over it, so that wind will keep on taking away the vapor from the surface, and more space will be available for the more of the moisture to come up. And so if you increase the wind speed, the rate of evaporation increases, and that is the reason that when you sit under fan and you increase the speed of the fan, the rate of evaporation of your sweat increases and you feel cooler. One concept of condensation is there, that if you take a glass of ice cold water and keep it in atmosphere, you see that outside surface of the glass has water droplets. From where has that water come? Obviously, water from inside the glass has not seeped out, and so it has to be the moisture of atmosphere. When it comes in contact of outer surface of glass, which is obviously cold because of ice inside it, then the moisture of the air gets condensed on the outside of glass surface, and this condensation is shown as the water droplets. So these are the points, these are the examples which I have discussed. You have to write down all of them in the form of questions and explanation yourself. So I hope that you could note all of them.